If you're grabbing a new Sims 4 pack soon, consider applying my creator code at checkout. Thanks to EA's supported creator program, if you type in Slytherin, it helps support my channel at no extra cost to you. It's a small thing, and there are a ton of codes out there, so thank you for choosing mine. Alright, go build something cozy, and don't forget, creator code Slytherin. Hey, thanks for slithering in. I am Slytherin. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome in if you are new. I hope you are having a fantastic day. Today we are continuing my starter home series. The starter home series, if you're not familiar with, is me going from world to world building starter homes, and we are using limited packs. So whatever world we are building in, that's pretty much the only pack we're allowed to use. For example, we are in San Myshuno today, so that means I'm only allowed to use base game and city living. No kits, nothing else. It's all base game and city living, which sometimes you would think is like a little easier said than done things and all that stuff, but you know, here we are. The shape of this build is going to change. Same with the building that is next door to it, this debug building. I was trying to kind of match it here, but then I saw these windows from City Living that I actually don't think I've ever actually used for real. And I was like, wait, these are really gorgeous. So I decided to just change the whole vibe here. And I was going to originally leave that debug building that's there, but for some reason at some point while building this or exiting the game and returning to the game, it disappeared. So, you know, good old Sims glitches like that happens, and we are all familiar with it, I feel like. But hopefully you guys do end up enjoying this video, and I can't wait to kind of talk through the build a little more with you guys. Since our last video, we've had a few more Sims news pop up. I mentioned last time of the somethingisgrowing.com, where you can go and get like some sneak peeks for the new pack, which is Enchanted by Nature, I believe, if I'm remembering it correctly. So there have been a couple of updates. I was right. They are like updating these every day. So every day we're getting a little bit of a sneak peek and a new sneak peek. The most recent one, I won't go through all of them here because I know there are a ton of other creators who are actually picking these apart. So the most recent one definitely says that we are getting a new skill and potentially a new career path. The skill that they mention is apothecary. I am so down for this, and I think this is going to be so fun. I wonder how it would work with like Realm of Magic, like if there's any like cross-function gameplay there. Like, would we be able to make potions that is also medicine? I mean, I guess we can kind of already do that. I'm kind of processing this as we talk through this build here, so actually don't mind me at all. And yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. And it also says that this skill, it says, who knows, it might even lead you to a new career path. So pretty excited to see what that's all about. Still trying to figure out where the fairies kind of come in, but there is a lot of like gnome artwork or whatever in that website. So we love to see a good gnome moment. But let me stop talking about the Sims news because let's get back to the build for a little bit. We have a floor plan and we're already furnishing. I've mentioned in other starter home build videos that I like to make sure I furnish everything first before I go back outside to landscape it. That's because I don't want to accidentally spend any simoleons on landscaping. I mean, I think I'm pretty good about picking out like the free debug items and things, but usually I just want to make sure all of our essentials are in place. So we already have a living space. We have a kitchen kind of planned out. For some reason, I didn't do the bathroom first before I did the bedroom. But I did this fun thing, which I really wish I did lofted spaces more because I think they're so much fun to do. But we have this gorgeous little loft space. The windows are so like big, where you get like this gorgeous view of either the city skyline in San Myshuno or the, I don't know if you want to call it an ocean or a lake, behind you. You know, I don't know, because I guess it depends on who you ask. I know there's theories of like how these worlds kind of line up on a map or whatever, but I usually don't pay attention, or at least not enough to remember it. So it really depends on your thoughts. I also think my reshade changed again. I say reshade, but I actually mean G-shade. So I mentioned in a couple videos ago that I had kind of this switch where I updated G-shade and then the shadows were more prominent. And then I updated G-shade again because there was like a little update or whatever, and then the shadows are now not so prominent. So I don't know. They were prominent when this video started and now they're not so much, but I still enjoy this G-shade preset. It's by Miss Lollipop Sims. It's linked in the description down below too if you guys ever want to know what I'm using and whatnot. So I've used this one for a really long time and I enjoy it. We have now moved on to the bathroom, getting all of our essentials: a sink, a toilet, a shower, and just a few pieces of clutter because I was like, oh, I have more simoleons to play with than I thought that I would in a starter home, especially for one that has like so much space. So I definitely had a lot of fun with that. And we are going to pretty much spend the rest of the interior decorating, getting some lighting, getting some other clutter items happening. What I wish I did do was paint the ceilings, especially under the lofted space. I don't know, it looks a little funny, and I like was wishing and dreaming way back when of getting the ability to paint ceilings. And then now that we have it, I always forget that's a thing. I just completely forget about it, which is kind of funny. It's like kind of similar, I think, to round walls. I feel like as a community, we just always wanted round walls and then we got them. But I guess they were so buggy. I guess it makes sense. They still are kind of buggy. It's not very fun building with round walls sometimes. Well, I would say it's fun because it's a challenge because it's buggy. So like it's fun to try and make it work and look nice, but it's also kind of a pain sometimes to work with if you're not specifically trying to give yourself that challenge, you know? So anyway, I digress. We have moved on to the exterior just to get a few more details out here. I'm getting some sidewalk path here. We are filtering again by City Living, and there was a weird cut there where I was trying to pull up the debug menu and then I realized that my mod wasn't working for the Better Build by mod. Yes, by Twisted Maxi. I forgot what I was saying there. So it wasn't working right and I had to kind of step back and kind of figure that out. I think I didn't have it selected because I had totally forgot. I had just updated my mods. In the last video, I mentioned how crazy the UI was looking because those mods needed to be updated. So as promised, I updated them so my UI looks a little better. Now you can actually see things and it's not so, I don't know, transparent, I guess would be the right word for that. Anyway, let's talk about this debug building. I found this one in the City Living debug and sized it down a little bit. So I know the windows don't quite line up with like the type of like floor split levels as the starter home I built. That sentence did not make any sense. It made more sense in my head. But anyway, it doesn't look completely right. Like these where their window placements are, but I'm just going to have to ask you guys to please use your imagination because if it was at full size, it would just look too giant up against this house anyway. So I had to make a sacrifice and that was the sacrifice. It's just this lot is so big and it's probably one of the smaller lots and maybe I should have probably checked all the other lot sizes here. But you don't have too many options for like lots that are outside of apartments in this game, at least in this pack, because obviously City Living came with apartments, right? That was the whole thing. That was the big hubba bubba baloo. What is that word? Oh my god. And maybe I could have done like a starter apartment, but I also don't know what that looks simoleon wise because you basically pay rent. So I don't know. Let me know down below what you guys think that would look like. But I guess now that I'm saying that out loud, you have to pay bills to live in a starter home too eventually. So maybe it's the same thing, and maybe I'm just so silly for not thinking of that sooner. I could still do a starter home apartment if you guys want. So let me know in the comments down below. It's actually been a really long time since I've done an apartment build, and I should probably do some because I do like apartments. I just go through phases where that's all I want to do, and then go through phases where that's definitely not something I want to do. And floor plans kind of scare me sometimes, to be honest, but okay. Anyway, let's move on. And back here behind the building, we had like a ton of lot space, and I was like, what to do? So I was just kind of scrolling through the debug menu as I do and looking for things that might make sense. And then I came across like this bench and these little like planter, like fake plant things. And I was like, oh, what if back here is like a fake community garden? And eventually, if you were to move your sim onto this lot, I'm sorry, that car was so rude. Why is he so loud? Anyway, if you were to move here and play on this lot, you can maybe eventually like delete these debug items and actually make it a functioning like community garden. And you know, that might actually be really fun, especially if you have the businesses and hobbies expansion pack to kind of go along with it, and maybe you turn that into a business. That would actually be really fun. I wouldn't mind trying that maybe someday. So I'm going to keep that in the back of my mind. Speaking of which, I know that I have some LPs to get back to. And especially, I have a Sims 1 Let's Play kind of up in the air right now. I do want to get back to that. But the one I really wanted to get back to is my businesses and hobbies Let's Play, which I've only done one episode for, and I feel so bad for doing that. I like, life just got crazy for a minute there, and it's still kind of crazy. We gotta, reel it back in here a little bit, but we are. Anyway, I have to get back to that, but before I do, I have to desperately dust out my PC because the fan, girl, it just won't hush when I'm in The Sims 4 anymore. So I definitely need to do a good clean out before I do that. But anyway, that's it for the speed build, and I'm rambling. So I am going to hop into live mode, and I will see you there. And voila, here we are with our starter home in San Myshuno in live mode. I actually really like how this lot kind of came out, especially as you zoom out. It definitely looks more blended in with the world with this debug building, so I'm really happy I did that. Back here, real quick, none of this is actually functional, but we have like a little community garden going on. This bench here is also debugged, but I didn't have any simoleons at the time, so we had to get a little creative, but I needed to fill up the lot and make it look somewhat blended anyway, but I hope you guys like that part. Our werewolf sim here is already testing out the TV, so at least we know that works. That is always good to know. But let's actually take a look at the bird's eye view before we really get this going here. But you enter in here. We have a second entrance or exit back door here as well, because I like to do that because of fire safety. But you enter in, and then of course you have your living room. You walk down this like hallway kitchen area. You have a little two-seater dining, and then of course your bathroom. And then if we go upstairs, we have this lofted area for the bedroom. I'm going to test out this kitchen first. We are going to have lunch, and we are going to we're going to go with the tortilla wrapped veggie dog. Seems not so fitting for a werewolf sim, maybe. I don't know, but we're gonna go with it. I honestly picked this sim just by random, so there's no rhyme or reason for it. Perfect. Everything's functional, which is good. For a starter home, there's actually a lot of like surface space in here, so that is a big plus. That usually doesn't always happen. It probably helps that we use these rundown counters from City Living, and then we have the like cheap old fridge as well. If you're not hungry, I'll put this in here. I'll make sure you can sit here maybe. Please don't devour anything. I still need to put this home up on the gallery. Great, our dining room works. Let's take a look at this bathroom. I guess you can take a pharaoh poop and take a wild shower, whatever that means, just to make sure everything works in here. But it's a pretty simple bathroom. We have your basic clutter items in here. And yeah, that's really it. It's a bathroom, you know. Oh, speaking of which, we should probably set our sink types. Here we go. We set this one in the bathroom, this one in the kitchen. Testing out starter homes is so weird for me because there's not much in the way. So I'm going to have you try on outfits up here. I really like the industrial vibe up here, but it's also like the carpet's run down, but it's also kind of fancy at the same time. If that makes any sense to you guys, I kind of like that vibe. It's kind of like you're living in the middle of San Myshuno. This was the best bet for you at the time, and then you've been slowly upgrading your furniture. The bed works. I'm canceling the welcome wagon because no thank you. And then let's see, can you play the piano? Great. Everything in this build works. I'm not really too surprised, so I'm going to go ahead and upload this to the gallery. Again, let me know what world you want to see next for this starter home series. There's a few we haven't gotten to yet, so I'm really excited to kind of actually wrap up a series. But we also have a new pack coming up too soon, so you guys know there's going to be a starter home for that. So yay, I hope you guys stick around. But thanks for watching. Before you leave, don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, a huge thank you to my channel members. Your support means the world to me. I'll chat with you all in the next one. Bye!